Nearly a quarter of Iceland's population went on strike this week. Almost all of them women.
Women across Iceland have staged a 24-hour strike demanding gender equality.
Ég hyggst sjálf leggja niður störf til að sýna konum samstöðu.
That, by the way, is Iceland's prime minister, who also went on strike, and she took half her cabinet with her. All women.
Þegar fólk spyr hver tilgangur með svona aðgerð, hann auðvitað að sýna fram á hversu miklu vinnuframlag kvenna skiptir í samfélaginu.
So let's take a peek at what a society that goes 24 hours without women looks like, what their demand is, and how the last time Iceland did this, their entire country changed.
Much of the capital city centre was closed to traffic for a rally held for women taking part in the strike.
Local police say they've never seen anything like it. The estimate, 70 to 100,000 people jammed into Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, for a rally.
I think this day is for all women in Iceland. It's about gender equality. We've been fighting for it for decades. This day means women's empowerment, and also a clear message to the whole world that we need equality, we need justice, we need the freedoms.
Meanwhile, dotting storefronts across the rest of the city, signs like this. Lokad is Icelandic for closed.
It disrupted much of society, everything from schools to banks to public offices.
Shops, banks and schools across the Nordic nation were shut or opened for shorter hours as female staff stayed home.
Especially affected education and health. The stat I've got from the Icelandic Teachers Union is that women make up the majority of teachers at every level, including 94% of kindergarten teachers. At the National University Hospital of Iceland, the biggest in the country, 80% of workers are women.
It was a reality check about how important women are to the workforce and to the basic services that we take for granted.
Now, emergency services were, obviously kept running, but hospitals did reduce their loads for the day, and everything from schools to museums, libraries, and zoos were affected, even homes, because the spirit of the day was that women should refuse unpaid work as well. So, cleaning, making dinner, laundry, preparing school lunches, childcare.
When women don't work, nothing works.
I think at the heart of the protest is the fact that women today participate as much as men in the economy and the labor market. But when they come home from work, they participate more than men in household work.
You call this equality? How you answer that question, which is incidentally their strike slogan, depends on how you look at it. So Iceland is actually considered the most gender equal country in the world. The World Economic Forum puts them at #1 in their most recent Global Gender Gap report. 4 of the top 5 are Nordic countries. The UK is ranked number 15, Canada is 30th, and the US is 43rd. But even more impressive than Iceland being #1 is that it has been #1 14 years in a row. Its prime minister is a woman. Half her cabinet are women. There's almost perfect parity in education level between men and women. Same goes for work opportunities in technical fields. Men and women on par.
We have the same chance as the men.
You do?
Yeah, definitely.
You do feel that in your bones?
Yes, in your bones. We grow up believing that. I mean, we don't even think about it.
So there are lots of reasons to think men and women in Iceland are very close to being on equal footing. But according to that same World Economic Forum report, where Iceland has seen a backslide for women is when it comes to money. In a nutshell, there's still a wage gap. The difference in earnings between men and women, about 21% in favor of men.
What we say is, if we're going to be the global leaders in gender equality, then we should actually achieve it, because it is possible.
That's one of the strike organizers. She says there has been progress on closing the pay gap, but it's still there. And there's another darker side to inequality, she says. that violence against women continues to be a national problem. An equality paradise should not have a 21% wage gap and 40% of women experiencing gender-based or sexual violence in their lifetime. One study from the University of Iceland suggested 1 in 4 women in that country have either been sexually assaulted or raped.
It's an extremely important day. We are, you could say, in a way, celebrating the power of the important women 48 years ago.
48 years ago was the only other time in Iceland's history that this kind of strike on this kind of scale had happened. October 1975, 25,000 people flocked to Reykjavik in solidarity with women demanding gender equality. Everything shut down: schools, airlines, theaters, factories, shops. The country came to a stop. And I can't help but laugh at this next part. That day actually became known in part as the day the country ran out of sausages, because dads, having to suddenly cook for their kids, resorted to basically the easiest thing to make possible. Shops literally ran out of sausages. 5 years later, Iceland became the first country in the world to elect a woman to the highest office. She would hold the job for 16 years. There are now laws requiring equal pay for equal work, and more recently, a law actually put the onus on companies to proactively show and prove that they were paying men and women equally. But not every field hires as many women as men, and women continue to be most likely to work in undervalued, lower paid jobs.
This day is very special for us, for women in Iceland, because we all skipped work 48 years ago, and we are doing it again today. I'm here for my daughters and for all other women in this country.
So, what was it like to have women stop working for 24 hours in Iceland? Well, it sounds absolutely crippling, both in 1975 and in 2023. So the challenge ahead for the country, already seen internationally as the ideal, live up to those expectations and actually cross the finish line.